The first three terms of our arithmetic series are 3, 8 and 13. What we can see from this is A is 3 and the common distance D is 5. Now, find in terms of n expression for Sn the sum of n terms. Now, what S of n actually means is, if I was to add the first two together, if I was to add the 3 and the 8 together, that is S2. It means the first two terms added together. So S2 would be 11, or S3, if we add on the third one, would be 24. Now, this is what S of n does, but you're hardly going to add up 20 terms together. That's why we have a formula. The formula is Sn equals n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Okay? And what this formula is in your tables under sequences and series. All you gotta do now is fill in your numbers. N over 2. A is 3, which means 2a is 6. D is 5. So when you multiply it out, you get 5n minus 5. Okay? Then you multiply it out, and what you get is n over 2 into 5n. 6 minus 5 is plus 1. So that's what you have here. Sn equals n over 2 into 5n plus 1. What you're asked to do in this question is to find S20. So that's the answer of part 1. The answer of part 2 is find S20. You put in S20, which means the first 20 terms added together. So you get 20 divided by 2. 5 times 20 is 100. So it's 100 plus 1. Now all you gotta do now is just basically use the calculator. So just press the fraction button at the start. So 20 divided by 2, and then press the right button to set up the fraction to get away from the fraction. So 100 plus 1, close bracket, press the equal sign, you get 1010. So the answer to this question is 1010. Now, this one here, you see it goes 10, 13, 16, 19, 22, okay? The first term is 10, the common difference is 3. Find in terms of n expression for S of n. You write down your S of n formula, n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d, okay? And then what you get is n over 2. 2 times a is 20 plus n minus 1 times d. So that's a 3. D is 3, so it's going to be 3n minus 3. And then finally, you just do what's inside the brackets. N over 2 into 3n. 20 minus 3 is plus 17. Okay? Back again. Okay, part 2. Find S30. S30 is 30 over 2 into 3 multiplied by 30. 3 multiplied by 30 is 90. 90 plus 17 is 107. Then you can just put that straight in there. It's going to be 30 divided by 2, which is 15. And you're going to multiply that by 107. Sorry, 107. Okay. And what we will get here is 1605. Okay. So 1605. Any questions about that one? No or yes? What's your question, Jack? Starting off, in our arithmetic series, the 8th term is 27. Okay, so T8 is 27, and the sum of the first 10 terms, S10, is 120. Find the first term A and the common difference. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to write down my two formulas, Tn and Sn. This is combining both of them together. Tn is A plus n minus 1 times d, and Sn is n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Now, a very common mistake is people don't know the difference between, let's say, T2 and S2. Okay, now I'm going to give you a series for example. 1 and 3 is two numbers in an arithmetic series, okay? T2 is the number 3. The second term is 3. However, S2 is 4 when you add the first two together. You got it? So that's the difference between T2 and S2. Now, back to what we're doing here. What you need to do is you need to fill in your numbers. So T8. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly replace in 8 for here, and 8 goes in here. Then we realise that T8 is going to be A plus 8 minus 1, 7. A plus 7D. A plus 7D is 27. Okay? Next we're going to go to the next one. And what we're going to do is anywhere we see N, we're going to replace it with, anybody? 10. N is going to get replaced with 10. Purely because the question tells us S10. 10, 10, 10. Now what happens next is, guys, 10 divided by 2? 5. 5 multiplied by 2A plus 9D. 2A plus 9D is 120. Okay. Now, you can do this two ways. The first thing you can do is you can multiply in by the 5 if you want, and you can get 10A plus 45D equals 120. Now we have two equations. The two equations we have is the first one here, is that part there, and the second one. We have a simultaneous equation. So what we need to do is we need to choose, we need to write down both equations and choose one, choose a letter to get rid of. Which letter would you like to get rid of? I might suggest using A because 10A is easy to multiply by. Okay, so 45D equals 120. What I'd like us to do to equation, we call equation A and equation B. What I'd like us to do with equation A is I'd like us to multiply both sides by 10. When you multiply both sides by 10, you just put a 10 there. The D, 7D turns into anybody? 70D. And 270 turns into, 27 turns into 270. Now, currently, they're not cancelling. We need to make sure they cancel each other. So we need to change one of them to minuses. We can change the bottom one to minuses if you want. Multiply both sides by minus. Minus 10, minus 45D, minus 120. What we're now going to get is, yes, Gavin? Okay, now that we have this done, what you get is 70 minus 45D is 25D is equal to 150. You take out your calculator, you get 150, and you divide it by 25, and you can find out what D is. D is 6. Now you know D is 6. You can choose either equation A or equation B to find out what A is. I would recommend choosing equation A because it has the small a already there. Okay? So all I have to do is, what is 7 times D? If D is 7, what's 7D? Shh. Okay. What's 7D, guys? 7 multiplied by D. 7 multiplied by 6 is 42. This means that A plus 42 equals 27. A therefore must be 27 minus 42. A therefore must be minus 15. That's A and that's D. Okay. Alright guys. A is minus 15. D is 6. So it goes up in 6s every time. Minus 3 plus 3 plus 9 plus 15. Now, when looking at these, you know that A is minus 15 and D is plus 3. So now all we have to do is show that Tn, 10 show that Tn equals 3 bracket 2n minus 7. Get the Tn formula. A plus n minus 1 times d. Put in your numbers. A is minus 15. N is, d is 3. So you multiply 3 by those two and you get 3n minus 3. Then bring the 3n to the front and you get 3n minus 18. Now, sorry? Oh, sorry, d is 6, excuse me. D is 6. Okay, so it's A plus n minus 1 times 6. Okay, multiply it out. A is minus 15, so change A with minus 15. Multiply it out. Minus 15 plus 6n minus 6. Then you get 6n minus 21. It still doesn't look quite like the answer I have on the board. Can anybody suggest how to fix that? Factorize. What number? What's the biggest number that divides into 6 and 21? 3. You divide by 3, and what you'll get is 3 brackets 2n minus 7. That's how you do that question there. Okay. Now, the next one is S of n. That is, I've answered part 1, part A.
That's the same as the original equation.
Yeah. Then, the S of n formula is the following. N over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Okay. A is minus 15. D equals 6. You put in your numbers. Now, what is 2a? Can anybody tell me? 2 multiplied by a is? Minus 30. Okay. So, n over 2 bracket minus 30 plus d times that is going to be, that's going to be 6n minus 6. Okay. Next thing. Happens next is n over 2 into 6n minus 36. Now, what you know is about the two numbers in the brackets. They're both even, which means they can be divided by the 2. So multiply by n and divide by 2. N multiplied by 6n is 6n squared. Divided by 2, 3n squared. 36 minus 36 multiplied by n is minus 36n. Divided by 2, minus 18n. It still doesn't look like what we have up here. So once again, we got to factorize. And what do we get?
3 into n squared.
N into 3n into n minus 6. And now it looks exactly the way it should. Okay. Now, the next part. Sorry? This question here could also be written as, I didn't have to factorize out the n, so it depends on what way they're asking you to present it. I could have just factorized out the 3, and therefore now it looks like 3 multiplied by n squared minus, it's not 3n, it's just 3 into n, and that's 6n there. Okay? Now guys, next part. 10 minutes left. Yes. Okay. What he's asking for next is, they want to find out T25 and S6. All we have to do for T25 is replace n with 25. So replace this equation, anywhere you see n, put 25. 3 multiplied by 2 times 25 minus 7, close brackets. All you have to do now is multiply it out. 3 brackets, 50, 2 times 25 is 50, minus 7. Now you know that that one is 129. The next one, for instance, is S6, okay? So replace Sn. Anywhere you see n, replace it with 6. And you'll get 3 times 6 squared minus 6 times 6. And if you put that into the calculator, 3 bracket 6 squared minus 6 bracket 6 close bracket, it's 0. So the answer here is 0. Okay, so that's question 10 done. Now, what happens next is the following, guys. Okay, we have Tn and we're asked to write down an expression for Tn minus 1. So replace, anywhere you see n, put in n minus 1. So you're going to have T of n minus 1 equals 3 times n minus 1 plus 2. 3n minus 3 plus 2. 3n minus 1 is Tn minus 1. Next thing, take your answer for Tn minus 1 away from T of n. So to prove that the series is arithmetic, it's Tn minus brackets Tn minus 1. Remember your brackets. So we're going to get 3n plus 2 minus 3n minus 1. Remember what happens when you have a minus on the outside. It ends up becoming 3n plus 2 minus 3n plus 1. They cross out. You now know that it's a constant, and the answer is 3. This is the constant, which means that it's an arithmetic series. Now, to do the third part, we know that the formula for T of n is 3n plus 2. And our whole point of this is we need to find out what Sn is first. Once we find out what Sn is, we can find out what S20 is. So, guys, first of all, to figure out how you'd even go about answering this question, you write down the S of n equation. After you write down the S of n equation, what you realise is you need to know what A and D are. To find out what A and D are is, just write down the first 3 terms and you'll actually end up finding out what A and D are. 3 times 1 plus 2, 5. 3 times 2 plus 2, 8. 3 times 3 plus 2, 11. You now know that A is 5 and D is 3. A is 5 and D is 3. Okay? So what we're going to do next is S of n equals n over 2. 2 times A. 2 times A is 10. Okay? 2 times A is 10. And multiply 5, which is multiply 3 by n minus 1 and you get plus 3n minus 3. Add them together. 10 minus 3, 7. 7 plus 3n. You now know what Sn is, but you need to know what S20 is going to be. To figure out what S20 is going to be is you just divide 20 divided by 2. 7 plus 3 times 20, close the bracket. And what you can get here is the following. 20 divided by 2, brackets 7 plus 3 times 20, close the bracket, and your answer would be 670. When you add up 20 terms, the answer is 670. Alright.